Today I want to talk to you about some training techniques for your trees in the landscape. Doing some training early in the plant's life is very important, especially for those that typically have poor branching structure. If you don't train it early in the early years of the plant's life, then you can develop some real problems later on, especially when we have the storms that we have in Oklahoma. It can just tear these trees all to pieces. So you want to start early. Now, this is a newly planted tree. It's very young, and we don't recommend doing any pruning at the time of planting. We want to leave a lot of the growth, a lot of the branches that can produce nice growth on it to help supply energy to the roots so it can get established during the first growing season, first year after you've planted it. And then after the first year, the second or third year into its planting, then you can come in and begin doing some pruning. Now, as mentioned, this one's a new one, and this plant here does have some naturally weeping types of branches, which is okay. But some plants will have branches that take off and go downward. Those branches we'd probably want to prune out. It also has twigs all the way down the trunk at this point. And we want to leave these on again early in the plant's life because the leaves and the branches help protect the trunk of the tree from sun scald and things like that. And then as the tree matures a little bit more, we can come in and clean up some of these lower branches and begin to train it the way we want to. Now let's go take a look at a tree that's been in the landscape for a little while. Now this is a young tree that we have. It's been here for a few years. It's actually a pawpaw tree, so it does produce some fruit, but it's also a very ornamental tree in the landscape. It has wonderful fall color. And we're going to treat this one today as a landscape ornamental tree. And so the first thing I usually do when I want to prune a tree is I walk all the way around the tree. And I look at the branching structure from all different angles, all the way around, so I can get a good idea of what I'm dealing with. Now, the first things I typically look for are rubbing, crossing, and broken branches. Those are the first types that we're going to remove. This one doesn't really have any broken branches in it, but it does have some that are rubbing. We've got little twigs up here that are bouncing off of each other. A little bit too crowded in this area, so we're going to go ahead and remove this one. We don't want to cut it flush to the trunk. We want to cut it just almost flush, but just a little bit outside of the, there's typically a branch collar on most of your branches. We want to cut just outside that branch collar because that's going to seal up nicely then, that wound. Now, we're also going to sit here and look at this. And again, we have some branches. We have too many branches on, lateral branches on this one here. And we probably need to remove those. One of the things you can do is maybe try to kind of hide it or pull it out of the way to say, okay, what is that going to look like if I remove this branch? Or what is it going to look like if I remove this branch? This one here, I think, is going to be a little bit competing and be a little bit too crowded. So again, we're going to come in here and remove that one. Working with nice sharp shears like I have here is very helpful. This one here, again, we've got too many branches competing, so maybe we'll come in and take this one out. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one out as well. And see, already we're starting to open it up a little bit, provides good air circulation and good structure for the plant. There's another, we'll take out this little one right here. And we'll continue to do that as we go throughout the tree. Now, another thing you want to look for is the branch angles. Now, this is actually a good angle. It's not quite 90 degrees, but it's not really narrow either. So this is typically going to be a nice, strong branching structure here. Where up here, we have one that's actually a lot narrower. And this one isn't too bad, but when they get really narrow, then that becomes a weak structural issue here. And eventually, as these two grow in diameter, they'll start pushing against each other. You'll get a weak point here, and then again with storms, that will cause the plant to fall apart. So we would actually probably, again, take a look at this and decide which one of these do we want to keep. I'm thinking this one, this is a good strong branch here, so we'll probably go ahead and remove that one. Well, this one's a little bit larger, so I'm actually going to grab some loppers that will help cut that one out a little bit easier. And again, try to prune it just outside that branch collar. Now, another thing to remember is when you're doing this training, don't remove more than a fourth to greater than a third of the plant material in one pruning. If it needs a lot of pruning or training, do it gradually. Do about a fourth of it 1 year, wait till next year, remove some more of the branches, and do that for over about a 3 to 5 year period.